Welcome back, John Morris Show on a Tuesday. It is the 16th day of June, a date that is it's a red letter date on my calendar and yours, I'm sure. It is Frank Fallon's birth date today. Frank would have been 96 years old today. Yeah. So it's fun to any chance we get. Pat Nunley and I always make it a point to remember Frank and talk about Frank every chance we get. So that's what we're going to do. Welcome in Steve Fallon, the eldest of the Fallon clan.
Yeah, I am now.
Right. But welcome. Thanks for coming in. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm good. Not, unlike most people who would sit here with you, they'd be super impressed. They're sitting next to a legend, but you're the second one. So it's no big deal to me.
No legend here, man. I've worked with a legend, though, and you were brought up by a legend. So that's fun. He would have been 96 years old today.
Yeah, 96. Yeah.
And he passed away way too young. You know, when I think about it, he was 73, and 73 is getting closer every day. That's not old.
I'm 73.
Old. You're 73.
Yeah, I'm 73.
That's not old at all.
I want to beat him. I'm trying my best. Maybe I'll make 74.
I hope you do. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So fun. We can go a lot of different directions, but you went into broadcasting also. How much of an influence was your dad as you sort of followed his footsteps, went a different path, but you were in broadcasting also?
Oh, yeah. He was a huge influence. One of my favorite stories is the first game I ever did for the Houston Oilers. It was a preseason game. So it's over with, and I got back to the hotel, and I couldn't wait to call and see what Dad said. And Mom answered the phone. Oh, you were fantastic. It was blah, 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 blah. I said, thanks, Mom. And she says, your dad wants to talk to you. I said, okay. So he gets on the phone. I said, well, Dad, what'd you think? And there was this pause, and he says, I think we have a lot of work to do. He was serious.
Yeah. Critique time.
Yeah. The shell just burst on it.
Oh, that's funny. Didn't he say, get a pen and paper?
No, he said he'd wait till I got back.
Yeah.
I said, well, tell me. He says, I'll wait till you get back.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Very good. Nobody better to critique your work than him, though, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you always said yes, sir, and no, sir.
Right.
Did what he said.
So Lark just stuck his head in here. KWTX reunion. Lark was there. Sports. You preceded him. I followed Lark. So kind of a nice reunion there.
Yeah, I forgot about. I hope he's
New
listening. I hope not. I forgot about him being there right before you.
Yeah. And New Bar Stone was in there somewhere at KWTX. Did you work with him? Did he follow you?
What was his first name?
Alan Stone.
Alan Stone.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
If I did, I can't remember.
He was in the mix somewhere in there.
Was
also.
he after you or before?
No, before.
Before.
And you were here, KWTX TV, and went to Austin. Is that the path?
That's the path.
KXAN in Austin.
Yeah, it was quite an experience.
Yeah, the end was an experience.
Yeah, I went to Austin and spent 3 years as a sportscaster on KXAN. It was KXTV back then.
Okay. Yeah.
And then they got Vic the Brick Jacobs.
Vic the Brick.
Yeah, they called me in one day and said, we appreciate your 3 years of service, but we're going in a new direction.
Oh, gee.
And boy, did they.
They sure did. Vic throwing bricks at the camera.
Yeah, the whole bit. Yeah.
Gee, many. But you were on the radio there in Austin for a long time.
Yeah, 11 years with KVET Case.
Yeah, which was good.
And then following KVET Case, I went to North Dakota for a year and a half. And it was horrible, to say the least. They interviewed me in July.
That's smart.
And
on their part.
Yeah. And I knew something was wrong when it was September the 20th. I remember that date because it's my brother Mike's birthday. And I was out on the back patio, and it was really cold out there, and overcast, and I lit my pipe, and I sat down. I started to relax for a few minutes, had coat, jacket, everything. And all of a sudden, snow starts coming down.
Oh, gee.
September 20th, snow's coming down. I went back in there, and one of the guys said, the snow you see coming down right now, it's the last thing you're going to see in June when it melts.
Oh, my gosh. September to June.
And he wasn't lying either.
Golly.
So
what a journey that was.
That was my only winter there.
Yeah. One was enough.
But, I had a 3-year contract, so I was kind of stuck. But then there was a new ownership change. And they came in to get, new contracts. I said, no,
we out of here.
I'm going back to Texas. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going back to Texas.
What years were you with the Oilers?
88 and 89.
Okay, 2 years there. Yeah. And your dad did the Oilers at one point.
In the 60s, yeah.
Way back, isn't that fun?
In the 60s.
And how many times did you all ever work together, you and your dad?
Well, the Southwest Conference Network,
right,
when it was going,
right,
we got to do a few of those together, and then there was a network that's gone now. I can't even remember the name of it, but they had Southwest Conference basketball for 2 years.
TVS, was that TVS?
It was. I think it was. It wasn't called TVS.
Okay.
I think it started with an M. But anyway.
Okay.
So we did that for 2 years, and then the second year, the last 6 months, we didn't get paid, so we quit.
Hey, it's fun working with you, but I'd like to get paid, right?
Yeah.
But wasn't that fun? I mean, did you enjoy working with your dad?
It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I didn't talk much. I just mostly listened.
Same. Same. Man, you're good. I just want to sit here and listen to you.
Yeah. So we would sit and not get paid and talk anyway.
Explain, some of our viewers, listeners may not remember the old Southwest Conference Network, which was pretty innovative, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was innovative.
There was a group of guys, professional broadcasters like yourself, and Frank was here. Frank was Baylor through and through. You were in Waco. I think you were in Waco at the time. No, maybe you were in Austin. Okay. But Frank didn't necessarily do the Baylor games. They just assigned you to a game on the Southwest Conference.
And as you would know, that's not fun because every week you're learning numbers of new teams. But yeah, that's what they did. They sent us all over the place. You wouldn't stick with it. I don't know why they did that.
Yeah. But it was pretty innovative. I mean, and that was a great group. You think about some of those names, some of those guys who were doing games then. Yeah. Really impressive.
Connie Alexander, of course, comes to mind.
Yeah.
He was great to work with. You never got to say anything, but he was a great guy to work with, just listening to him.
Right.
And he'd let me do the commercials.
There you go. See, live read, like I was talking about. You're the guy. Very good. What was so my wife, Terry, one time said, as she met Frank, she said, "Oh, he's funny." And I said, "Yeah, what'd you think?" And I said, "I don't know. I thought he was so serious and so strict." And he was when he needed to be. But, man, he had another side of him, didn't he?
Yeah, and speaking of, he did. He was he could get strict, but he could be funny.
Right.
But he had dry humor, as you know.
You're right.
You didn't know you were zapped until a few seconds later. But Terry, did y'all just have either an anniversary or she had a birthday?
We did, both actually. Anniversary was June 2nd.
Yeah.
42nd anniversary.
Wow.
And her birthday was June 9th. I won't tell you what number.
Okay. That's a good thing.
So a week apart, June 2nd and June 9th.
I'll be doggone.
Thank you.
Well, that's great. Yeah. Well, you tell Terry I said happy birthday and happy anniversary.
I will do that. I will absolutely do that. Strict, like he could be strict when he needed to be. What was it like growing up in the Fallon household?
Well, he got spanked. I know that. He didn't shy away from making sure that the children behaved. But with four boys, you got to every once in a while spank them. I mean, hey, we were terrors.
You four? Yeah.
Well, three of them. I was good, but but they were terrors.
And get all four of you together, and woo, man, that's wild. Yeah. Do you remember, like growing up when you were younger, way younger, when you would go with Frank to some games? Did you get to do that at some point?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when you were really young.
Yeah. We'd not the football, but the basketball.
Yeah.
He'd take either me or Mark. Mike was too young, but he'd take one of the two of us every once in a while. Not real regularly, but and it was a blast.
Yeah. What's the story? You're throwing rocks off the roof?
Now, wait a second. That wasn't me. That was Mark.
You weren't involved in that?
No.
Okay.
Kinda.
Okay, kinda. Listen, statute of limitations.
Yeah, well, here's what
past.
happened. He went on the roof. I did not.
This is that old Baylor Stadium.
Baylor Stadium.
Case, yeah.
And he was throwing little stones down, and people were kind of looking around like, what's going on? Well, then he picked up one a little bit bigger than that. And so the police come running up there. And came in, and during a break, the policeman said, he said, Mr. Fallon, one of your sons is up on the roof knocking the hell out of people.
Oh my gosh.
That didn't go over too well when we got home either.
Oh man, during the course of the game.
Oh yeah, during the course of the game.
Holy cow.
But he must have, Mark must have really hit one pretty good.
Can I tell you a similar story? Not near as destructive, but one time I'm doing a game with Frank, and Bill Bratcher, who was an assistant baseball coach at the time, he comes in and he leans over and he says, "Give me your keys." And he said, "Don't ask, just give me your keys." And I said, "Okay." And so I gave him the keys to my car. Didn't find out till after the game. Terry had come with our daughter Megan, who's our oldest, and locked her in the car.
Oh yeah.
And she stayed down there with her. And Bill Bratcher was a saint to help us get my keys, come down, give them to her, and get her out. So that was some things happen.
I'm sure that's a memory for her.
Yeah, no, she was no, she doesn't remember that. She was she was way young.
Oh, you're talking way little.
Oh yeah, she was in a car seat. She was in a car seat.
Getting back to my dad, I remember a great story when we were in Arkansas. You're going to remember this story, and you're going to wish you didn't. But anyway, John was real athletic, and he could jump really.
Where you're going?
He could jump really high and all this, and so I thought. And of course, they had a couple of the Arkansas football players out there. They were all waiting to be interviewed and stuff, and. I forget the guy's name. But anyway, one of the football players, I said, that guy right there, he can out-jump you. And he says, there's no way. And I said, I'll bet you $5. And John out-jumped him. Had a deal. I got my $5, and then Dad found out about it. He said, what did you all do?
Yeah.
I said, well, John told me to ask this guy.
That's right. That's true. That was a few years ago.
That was a few years ago.
A few years ago. And that would have been on the Southwest Conference press tour, which we could fill some time telling those stories.
Yeah,
that was fun.
We don't want to do that.
Nah. But that was fun. Remember, Bill Morgan was head of media relations with Southwest Conference. Charlie Fiss. Charlie's still kicking around.
Still there, isn't he? Yeah, still working. Not.
He's semi-retired. He works with the Cotton Bowl still.
That's what I meant. The Cotton Bowl.
Yeah. But there were some stories there.
Oh, there were plenty of stories.
Lost the bus one time. Bus was stolen.
Bus was stolen. Yeah, that was a real pleasure. There were several things that happened that we really, I don't know if we could talk about them on the air, but there were a few things that happened that weren't. My gosh, there goes Tom Barfield. I thought he was dead. Wow, I'm good to see he's still
alive and kicking.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But anyhow, we had a lot of fun on the press tour.
So for people who don't remember Southwest Conference, everybody was in the same state except for Arkansas. And so in August, we would go to each school, and the conference office would lay out the schedule. You'd go there, do interviews, have a dinner that the school hosted that night, spend the night there, next morning get up and go to the next school. And most of it was bus.
Yeah.
I guess we flew to Lubbock and flew to Fayetteville.
Did we flew to Lubbock? I can't remember that.
That'd be a long bus ride.
Yeah.
But it was pretty cool to go to each school. Now they bring everybody in. Like we were just talking about the Big 12 media days. They bring everybody to one location, which makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
And do it over 2 days. But that press tour, that was
it was wild. It had some
wild.
Crazy guys. I remember one year on the tour, we were at College Station. And Curtis Dickey was the big stud back then. So, and all the TV cameras were, lined up about 8 or 9, 10, I don't know. And then they go down the line and each one gets in. So Curtis Dickey, was the first one to interview him. And he had a horrific stutter. And he was nervous. And I could hardly even understand what he was saying either, because he was really nervous. It was his freshman year and all that kind of stuff. So I ended it really quickly, and I said, well, it's great having you. Welcome to the Southwest Conference. And now if you'll just, and all the guys were gone.
They were gone.
The cameras were there, but they were gone. And I said, you just go see your coach, and he'll tell you what to do next. Thank you, Curtis.
You were the lead scout.
Oh, man, that was horrible. I felt so bad for him. But I understand, got better. And, of course, by his senior year, he was still stuttering, but he was very hearable.
Wow. What was the best, or what are some of the best games you ever saw or got to call?
Well, I've seen a lot of good games, and it's really tough to say. I don't know about the best game I ever called. I'm not sure how good I was to say I had a best game. But anyway, we would for the University of Texas, we had one game that was pretty incredible. The Longhorns with their basketball coach weren't. I can't even remember his name either. But they weren't doing very.
Was that
well.
Weltlich?
Bob
Weltlich?
Bob Weltlich, yeah. And lost. We were like 6-18 or something like that.
Gosh.
And Arkansas with the triplets got beaten by Baylor by 1 point.
Oh,
and
yeah.
everybody went absolutely. It was in Arkansas. They weren't happy there, but I mean, all the Baylor fans went absolutely nuts. And I think that may have been the last game he ever won, but he didn't stay very long. But that was an incredible game, and I do remember that I was really excited about that one.
That's great.
Because we'd gone through a lot of losses.
You're right.
You've been there,
Been there. Yeah.
And so getting a surprise victory like that was probably the most exciting game I ever did.
That's great.
Yeah.
Did you, in the games you did with your dad, what was that like? I mean, I can't imagine. I've got a son, MJ, and he spotted for us one time, or was a stat guy sitting next to me, and I thought that was fun.
Kyle, my brother Kyle used to do.
Yeah, that's right. And so he's done that, but we never really play-by-play in color together. What was that like?
Well, actually, you and I probably thought the same way. But when you're doing a game with him, or when I was, he had total control of everything, so I was never worried. Because I knew if there was a problem, he'd get us out of it.
That's true.
And so I would wait for an opportunity when he would ask me a question. I would answer those, but I didn't just jump out there and start saying stuff. So it was a very, and plus you listen to everything he says and the way he says it, and the lip of the cup and all that other kind of stuff. And so it was fascinating, and I was blessed because he wasn't just Frank Fallon, he was my dad. But I really never knew how well respected he was until after he had retired. And one afternoon we were riding bicycles along in the neighborhood, and everybody, "Hi, Frank, how are you, Frank? Hello, Frank," and all this other kind of stuff. And then I still, even today, like I was on jury duty not too long ago, and a lady on jury duty used to work at KWTX, and she talked about my dad and how wonderful he was, and told a couple of stories about things he did that I'd never heard about. It was a blessing.
That's cool. That's really cool. And there's so many guys that are in broadcasting now, came through Baylor, learned from him, and then went off and made names for themselves. He really nurtured a lot of young broadcasters along the way, didn't he?
He sure did. He sure did. He obviously did a good job with you. You follow him into the legendary status.
Not.
And and then the other thing is the two of you being the only two people from the same college that were inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And I think that's very special.
Now that's a real plus for Baylor. The Chris Schenkel Award.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a real. Frank won it in 2001, and there's only one school that's had two recognized. That's a cool deal for Baylor.
Absolutely.
It really is.
I was so excited when I saw that you had gotten that honor, and it brought back memories of when Beverly and I went. We spoke for him because he was so far along with Parkinson's, he couldn't go. And what a wonderful event that was.
First class. Really, really cool. It was great.
Yeah, we were there. The police had a big boycott.
Now, this was New York?
No, this was in
or Las
South
Vegas.
Bend.
Oh, South Bend.
South
okay,
Bend.
Gotcha.
They had, but the police were in uniform, and they were all, I don't remember what it was all about, but they were in uniform and carrying their deal. But they were swarmed all over the place. So when it came time for me to accept Dad's award, the guy that was doing the talking said, "What do you think about all of this?" And I said, "I think it's wonderful. And I also think, my wife and I think this is the most safe place we've ever been in our lives. Everywhere I look, you have police."
Right.
Well, I didn't know they were.
Funny. That's funny.
He said, "Yes, we've got them all over right now."
Security was very tight. That's great. So one of the favorite stories, Craig Harper, was our engineer for 25 years.
How can you forget
Yeah,
Craig?
remember Jerry Clemens, how great he
Jerry
was
Clemens,
as a producer.
yeah.
Tommy Tucker was kind of Frank's personal statistician for many years, and he was so great. But one of the great stories Craig likes to tell and retell was we were playing Arkansas up in Fayetteville. They didn't have lights, but they brought in portable lights so it could be a TV game. And so, portable lights weren't that great. So here's Frank, and he calls, watching through the binoculars, which I don't know how you do that.
I don't either.
But he did, watching through the binoculars. There's a run around the left side to the 15, 10, 5, touchdown. There's an anteater on the field. It was like in rhythm. There's an anteater on the field.
There really was?
There was not. It was in Fayetteville, but it was like that motorized Razorback helmet that would run out on the field after a touchdown. And he didn't miss a beat.
Oh, he had that thought up, I bet. He as soon as he saw it, he knew what to say.
10, 5, touchdown. There's an anteater on the field. And I just kind of looked over at him, and Craig and I looked at each other, and then he looked at me and he started laughing. To get him to laugh on the air was pretty good. And he was laughing at himself at that point, but that's one of the all-time classics.
And I missed that one. I've never heard that story.
Oh, really?
That's a great one.
Well, there you go. It's a classic. Craig and I love to retell that story. A lot of good stories. We loved your dad. We loved your mom, June. We love you and your family. And it's great to reminisce. I want people to remember Frank, to know how
we
good
know
he
that,
was.
and we are so, as a Fallon family, so appreciative of that, because as far as you have gotten, to still want to always think about him, tell the people publicly about him. A lot of people don't know who Frank Fallon was. And maybe there's some that may never care again, but then there are others who have looked up and gotten information.
Sure.
That tell my grandson, who's a junior in high school, he talked about how one of the teachers came up and said, "Are you related to Frank Fallon?"
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's great.
And he said she was an older lady, but she known him. And he came home and he said, "Pappy, that lady was talking about my grandfather and great-grandfather.
Yeah.
This and that, and excited, and said she got to meet him one time somewhere, and asked for his autograph. And he said, I didn't know he was that famous. I said, I didn't either, giving out autographs.
That's great.
And then he says, how about you, Pappy? Did you have people asking you for autographs? I said, all the time.
All right. That's your story. That's right.
I'm sticking to it.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Well, it's great. And you know this, and I like to say this, Frank will always be the voice of the Baylor Bears. Always. I followed him. Somebody will follow me. Somebody will follow them. I'm just in this position as long as God will have me there. But Frank will always be the voice of the Baylor Bears.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, but I also say God helped you do pretty darn good yourself, buddy.
It's been great. No, it's been great working with him for 8 years and then following him. So it's been great. Great to see you.
Well, you too,
Tell
sir.
Beverly hello.
I will.
Yes, and great to see it. Tell her to keep those hips in line.
Yeah. My wife broke her hip twice.
Oh, gee.
6 months. I kept going, man, people are going to think I'm beating you. Would you please stop that? No more.
You need to stay healthy. But thanks for coming in. Great
My
to
pleasure.
see you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, man. Steve Fallon, the great Steve Fallon, talking about the great Frank Fallon. Today would have been Frank's 96th birthday today, June 16th.